is not going to die. The king is not going to die. The managing director is not going to die. Nobody is going to die. The child who was born as an individual, are you getting that point, please? I who was born, that I is going to die, not the engineer. Engineer is not going to die at all. This I who was an engineer is going to die. The I who was the managing director is going to die. So that is why at the moment of death, automatically all your roles are gone. The person is not facing himself for the first time face to face. He does not know how to face himself, because this individuality so far he has always seen it through the mask. Always it is an engineer, always a father, always a brother, he is a managing director, he is a millionaire. Now for the first time, the moment you are retiring from the job itself, you are thrown back onto yourself, because you are no more the managing director. You may write in your type of visiting card, ex-managing director, you can do that, but that does not mean anything whatsoever. Now you are thrown back to face onto yourself. That is why the person doesn't know how to live in this world, because he feels so empty. There is a void in his life without that particular position, that particular role. But if you have seen yourself as you are, it doesn't make any difference, sir. Even if all the roles go, doesn't make any difference. Ultimately the body is going to drop out. You smile at it. It becomes the most wonderful thing that can ever happen to you. Anyway, that's what Bhagavan says here. The one who never use this life in the understanding of himself, such a person, tan pretya, giving up this body, andhena tamasa avruta, travel to another loka which is full of darkness. Listen carefully. What it exactly means is full of darkness. What it means is, usually, when you give up this physical body, we have seen already in the Gita a little bit of it, three things happens. If you know yourself as you are, that everything, I am the all-pervasive reality, there is no birth, no death whatsoever. How is it? Please see. Just give an explanation, it will be very clear. Death is something, please. Birth, you know that. Birth and death is like two sides of a coin. When you say now if you say death of this moment, what it means, if you say it is death of 740 or death of 750, it is the birth of 751. If the death of 751 is the birth of 752, the moment one moment is born, it means last moment is dead. If the last moment is dead, this moment is born. Now the moment you say, I am born, like it or not, I am dead to a previous condition. Because death means birth of a new condition. Birth means death of the previous condition. So the moment you just take it literally, see that. So the moment you say, if you have a feeling, I am born, it means I am dead to the last moment. If you say, I am dead, it means you will be born to a new moment. Now suppose there is a person who doesn't say, I am born or dead, he says, I am. Don't add anything. What will happen? He just exists. Existence itself. Don't get lost in that word. Just see that. Don't get lost in that word. If you see the meaning of it, what exactly it is not the word which dies. The word perhaps frightens you. It's a name. But it is something that is beyond this word. You understand the meaning of it as it is. There is no birth, no death. But the moment the person is born, naturally is dying. And if you have got a feeling that you are dying, you shall be born into a new condition. Transmigration takes place. According to what? Yatha karma, yatha srutam. According to your karma, as well as according to your mental evolution. Both way. According to the karma, as well as the evolution. According to karma, you can be born. There is just because you are born as a human being, there is no guarantee that you shall be born as a human being again. There is no such guarantee. Because just because a human being, you can be a dog in a man's form. You can be an animal in a man's form. It makes no difference. It is like, as they say, between the dogs and animals and the man, there is no difference. Ahara, nidra, bhayam, maithunam. The man eats, the dog eats. Nidra, man sleeps, the dog is sleeping. Bhayam, the man is afraid, the dog is afraid. Maithuna, the man breeds, the dog breeds. Now what is the difference between the two? Only difference is dharmo hitesham adhiko vishesham, righteousness. This discrimination about one's own self. So if a person has not started discriminating, he is also a pasu. He only sees, he never thinks. So such a person, such a jiva can be very well replaced into anybody. Are you getting that point? It doesn't make any difference. It is not necessary he will be in human body. It was given to him, he did not make use of it. If you make use of it and the mind starts thinking and evolving, definitely that person is no more good enough for the animal body. Therefore he shall not go back there. In 6th chapter Bhagavad Gita comes it elaborately. Anyway, so according to your karma, you shall get into that, or up to evolution, the person shall come into the other body. Either you are liberated, or you are born again right away, or if you are not liberated, not born again, in between field of experience, you remain for some time, not for all times to come. Once your punya is exhausted, or papa is exhausted, either the merit or demerit exhausted, kshine punye martyalokam vishanti. Again you come back to this world to start the whole thing all over again. That is where the transmigration, reincarnation, all that stuff, you don't have to go to religion these days. Go to parapsychology as a branch of scientific knowledge, you shall get a lot of reference in that. Okay, having told this, now let us get into another very interesting chapter now coming in. Bhagavan says, if this reality, if this God, thus is all pervasive, please let me know, sir, how exactly it is. Now brings in the contemplation. The more and more you take these words and contemplate upon yourself, what exactly the nature of this reality? What exactly this God is? You take this idea into your head and go on contemplating upon it. How it is? These 4 verses that is coming is like 4 atom bombs. Each one destroys, pulverizes. No idea, no thought can ever stand it. That is why you say, this mind is so crafty. Deliberately, if you want to ask the mind to contemplate, it will go somewhere else. Completely, it goes somewhere else. It is just like a child. Always afraid of the beating. But if you can gather it together for some time, sir, and given this idea, it shall enjoy the beauty of it. It is like, a dog. One day, a dog was walking down. While walking, long distance, he has gone walking. And then he was very thirsty. Then he wanted to drink some water. He's running about looking for the water. As he reached a place, a pond, very placid, quiet surface of water, and the dog is going to drink there. When he looks at the water, he sees there is another dog looking at him. He's so afraid. He's another dog. And especially the refraction, if your face is this much, the refraction, your face is that big. So he sees another bigger dog inside. So the dog runs back. But he's thirsty. So again he goes quietly to the side of the river, a pond. And again looks, then the same dog is there. So he gets so hungry, he bares his fangs. When he bares his fangs, the inside is bigger fang and bigger bear. The dog is really afraid. He returns. Then he comes back. And this time he is really thirsty. What he does? He says, doesn't matter even if he attacks me. He jumps into the water to attack the dog. But he drinks water. The other dog has disappeared. Understand? I is like that. That type of honestness. That type of strength and adventurousness. Do you really want that absolute, sir? Annihilate. Dissolve. No, you have fallen in love with my tiny little individuality. What can I do with that? A stupid one. What to do? That's no good. When this individual is contemplating, you are in love with a contemplator now, right? Previously you are in love with somebody outside, now you are in love with your own self. Contemplator. So you are taking a role of, I'm a religious man. I'm a contemplative person. These days I am very withdrawn. What ways are you are better than anybody else? Please think of it. So this I, when he's contemplating at any time, there is no question. Some people say, no, I don't want to be immortal. I want to test immortality. I want to be sugar. I want to taste sugar. Why do you want to be such a criminal, a miserly fellow? Now look at it. Suppose that, just take as an example. Suppose there is a pool of immortal nectar is there. If you drink it, you shall be immortal. Think of it. If you drink it, you shall be immortal. And suppose you are a fly. That's what that particular role you deserve. Okay. Now suppose that you are now a fly. And you are asked, go and take this, what is that? Nectar. What should you do now? By habit, the fellow will go to the side and try to reach it. Jump into it. Even if you jump into it, you cannot be dead. But the fellow wants to taste it, isn't it? Why don't you jump into it? That is what immersion, the great Western philosopher says. In this Hinduism, the most beautiful flowering of the human mind has taken place. But the most unfortunate thing is, the Indians or the Hindus, they hold on to the doors of perception, doors of immortality, and collapse on the very door itself. A little push, that's not possible. The fellow doesn't want to give it a little push and understand what exactly it is, sir. The great tradition. But what happens? The man doesn't understand it. And a person is infinite wisdom and foolishness. He will dismiss everything and go off. What is that big deal, sir? Just think of these thoughts that are existing. So that is where, with that adventurousness, think of it. What he says? This reality is, each one is like I don't know how to talk about it. Anejad ekam manaso javiyah nainad deva apnuvan purvamarshad. Anejat ekam. Please see that. Oh. Anejat ekam manaso javiyah. Just see the translation first. Anejat. It never moves. No movement. Ekam, one, without a second. But, see that, Anejat never moves, but Manasho Javiyaha, faster than the mind. Never moves and faster than the mind. Yes. How do you say never moves, sir? Listen please. A movement is possible from a place to place where you are not. An all-pervasive reality cannot have any movement. Sarvagataha sthanu. If it is all-pervasive, there cannot have any movement. Anything that moves from a place to place, it is not all-pervasive. If God is all-pervasive, think of it. The truth consciousness is all-pervasive. There is no movement. Ekam, one without a second. Now listen. Don't for God's sake say ekam. If you say ekam, if you think it is one and if you say it is one, you have made it three. If you think it is one, it is two. If you say it is one, it is three. Why? Speech, thought, and as it is. You can't say it is one, sir. You know, it's like it's a concept, it's a word, it means nothing. Have you seen that concept called crowd? Crowd means what? It can be one, it can be 100,000 people are there in a mall. What do you say? Oh, Papa, huge crowd. Now slowly everybody disappears. There are 5,000 people. What do you say? Crowd. Now suppose there is one fellow there. What do you say? Still it is crowd. One among the crowd. When the one fellow goes, what do you say? Suddenly there is no crowd. The crowd, the concept disappears. As long as in one thought, we call it mind. Millions of thoughts, it's a mind. 5 thoughts is a mind. One thought also it is mind. When there is no thought, what shall you call it? It's a concept. Crowd is a concept. There is nothing called a crowd. Everything come together makes it a crowd. But there is nothing called a crowd. You take away the persons, you can't say 1, 2, 3. That's what it is. But then it is faster than the mind. How it never moves and faster than the mind? Yes, sir. The road from Port of Spain to San Fernando never moves or the faster than the fastest car. You have got a Jaguar, you have got the Lotus, top speed, 300 kilometers, 300 miles per hour. You can go any speed you like. The road is always beyond. Never moves, but faster than the fastest of the things. Anejat, ekam, just think of it. One never moves faster than the fastest of thought. Meditation, you understand? This is what it is. The road never grumbles, the appearance and disappearance of the car. It doesn't grows the movement of a 1940 model, neither it opens up because the 1988 model is coming in now. None of this stuff. Absolutely quiet. Now the old thought is coming, impressions of 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, 60 years. Yesterday's thought makes no difference to consciousness. Anejat, ekam. So in God there is no movement. Same consciousness, everything is one. Name it God, name it consciousness, name it anything you like. Nainat deva apnuvan purvam arshad. Enat arshad. Arshad means that is the fire, light of wisdom. That is the consciousness, fire of consciousness itself. It is the brilliance, the illumination. Enat Devana Apnuvan. No gods could ever know it. No gods could ever know it. What is that God? Devata means, please understand, Devata means Dyotanatmakam Devam, that which illumines your sense organs. Sense organs are known as the Devata. Now these sense organs, Devata and Devanam Rajaha, Indra, mind. Neither the Indra nor these gods can ever see it. In a sense, the sense organs and the thought cannot perceive the consciousness. They are illumined by it. Please see that. The sun is illumined in the outside world. The eyes see it. Now sun is lighting up because the eyes are lit up. Now the eyes are lighting up because the mind is behind it. In light the sun, in the eyes the sun is dismissed. In the mind the eyes are dismissed. And the thought is illumined because consciousness is. And in the consciousness the thought is dismissed. And the consciousness is because consciousness is. There is no dependence on whatsoever. Swamahimnitishtati, existing in its own glory. Nothing can know itself. Chakshusha chakshu, srotrasya srotam, eye of the eye, in whose presence eyes see, ears hear. Itself never seen by the eyes. It so happened one day, Mullah was giving a beautiful call in the mosque. Very loud call. And one day, he usually calls for the prayer every time. And one day he gave a real piercing call. And then suddenly somebody discovers, he starts running down from the steps and out of the mosque and runs to the marketplace. Somebody asked him, what are you doing? Today it was the best call I have ever given. I want to see how far it has reached. Will he ever know, sir? The moment he gets down, his sound is not there. When you want to see this reality, you can't see your own eyes. Somebody has to say your eyes are beautiful, isn't it? And your own self, see, try to see. No, I want to put on a mirror. I'm not talking about mirror. Eyes cannot see the thought. When you close your eyes, with what eye you see the thought? These two eyes? But you see it. Devana apnuvan. The gods could not reach it. They could not. They cannot. Arshata. There is a light of lights which illumines everything. Tadhavato anyan atyedi tishthat. Tishtata. It is always steady. No movement. Dhavato anyan atyedi. Anything that is running, it goes beyond it. Anything that is running, it goes beyond it. That's what Shankara says. Yatra yatra manoyati tatra tatra samadhaya. You want to experience the samadhi state, the person always waiting for some luminous things to happen. Please, for God's sake, do not imagine. The day you stop being imaginative, you shall understand what it is. You understand? When I say imaginative, not in a good sense of the term, in a bad sense of the term. The person sits down, screws up his eyes like this, and then he thinks of thinking of what? You can see looking at the people, you can know the fellow is meditating or meditating. Whether he is becoming mad in the process or becoming quiet in the process. When you look at Bhagavan, when you look at Buddha's face, what is there? Full restfulness. Not the closing the eyes. And some people, they begin like that. By the time they are ended, they are already gone into Libya. They don't know what is happening in the body, you see. Unconscious. It's all meditations. In the name of meditation, you can do all that stuff. It will not work. Anyway, we shall do all that. Anyway, here Bhagavan says. So it is something. Apnuvan. What is that? Shankara says, Yatra yatra manoyati. Wherever the mind moves, there this samadhi is. Listen carefully. Can this sound ever walk out of the lap of silence? Wherever the sound is, surrounded by silence. Wherever the form is, surrounded by the formless space. Just look at it. I have given this example many times. I don't know if all of you know, many of you have known. You show this hand. I asked one time some people, what do you see? Everybody says, I see the hand, I see the line, I see everything. What are the gaps? Without this formless space, it won't be finger. If it is like that, it is a deformity. You have to cut it, create the space. So you look at the finger, but lose sight of the space, you take it for granted. What are you listening? Sound. No, sir. When you are listening to the sound, there is silence in between the sound. If there is no silence in between sound, it will be a continuous drawl, you won't grasp what it is. But the man is listening to the sound, the silence is lost sight of. Trinidad is a land of rolling hills. What are you seeing? Hills and hills and hills. Only hills? What about the valleys? Without the valleys, the rolls, the hills cannot be there without the valleys. Exactly the same also, sir. When you look at this, when you're meditation, what are you doing? Thinking. Can you just think? Thought, consciousness. Thought, consciousness. Both are. So at any time, wherever the thought moves, it can never walk out of that stillness. So wherever the thought is, there itself may you discover that stillness and be that stillness. Tasminapo matarishyo dadhati. In that indeed, matarishyo apadadati. Matarishyo means the vayu. The air moves, the water moves in that dimension, in that consciousness alone. It comes in Taittiriya Upanishad, that is Samaveda, very nicely says. Bhishas, just for a taste of it. Bhishas madvatah pavade, bhishodeti suryaha, bhishas matagnis chandrascha, mrityurdhavati panchama iti. This is Samaveda chanting. Very interesting. Those verses, the Upanishad is so fat. It will take 6 months to finish one. There what he says? Bhishas madvatah pavade. Out of its sphere, the wind blows. Vishas, Matagnis, Chandrascha. Out of its fear, the fire burns. Indra rules. Mrityu dhavati panchama. The time is always on the run. That is the God. How do you say that? Yes, sir. Suppose somebody is on the round, when you are walking out, you saw somebody is running on the road. Naturally, your eyes goes behind him, isn't it? What is that? Is there any tiger behind him, or a buffalo, or a cow, or a car, or a dog? Or else why is he running? Suppose there is nobody behind, what do you say? A thought is making him to run. Movement means there must be somebody behind. Any movement, by itself it doesn't happen. A thought drags you. Something somewhere. It's always caused by somebody around. If this air is on the continuous move, the death is on the continuous move, the time is in the perpetual movement. The fire never becomes cold. The air moves. Who is behind it? The reality, consciousness, God itself behind it. Tasminapo matarishyo dadhati. In its presence, everything happens. So when you withdraw to yourself, everything comes to standstill. Withdraw to yourself and see that eyes function. It will not. Please. It is like, have you seen your TV? When you put it off, switch it off, what happens? All lights goes like that and one tiny dot remains. That also goes where? Into the energy level, into the electricity itself. That meaning nothing, no expression now. And when you, suppose there is a big flashing light, you switch it on, light goes. Then it comes out like that. Now think of that example. All the sense objects you are seeing, all that you are perceiving is nothing but the extension of your eyes. All the forms find their dissolution in your eyes. All the sounds are nothing but the extension of your ear, and every sound finds its dissolution in your ear. All the taste finds its dissolution in your tongue. All the touch on your body, smell on your nose. In a sense, each one of us is the center of the universe. Everything finds its dissolution here. In turn, if you go, these 5 sense objects, sense organs, find their dissolution in one mind. And in turn, that mind, the thoughts, finds its dissolution in consciousness. And what is that? At once, all pervasive. Just please think of it. From this sound, you can come to the basic silence, but you don't have to expand the silence. Silence is already expansive. In that point. You withdraw to yourself, see what it is, and thereafter you don't have to expand into all directions. It's already expanded in all directions. That is your dimension. Out of whose sphere every movement takes place. That's what Bhagavan says. Matarishwadhati. How else it is? Please read the next one, please. Okay, just read this one and we shall see next class. Tadejati tannejati taddure tadavantike tadantarasya sarvasya tadu sarvasyasya vayatah. Now, just this one I'll explain, thereafter we'll go to meditation on this verse. Neither of the two. Each one is beautiful. Just see. Tadejati, tannejati. That reality, indeed, that moves. Any person says, oh, then I know. All that moves, I know. That is the reality. Tannejati, that never moves. And the person gets flabbergasted. You see, suppose you first day lecture I say one thing, 1 month back. And today I see completely contradictory. Taking for granted your memory, I can say something contradictory. It's all right, right? But suppose now I say it moves, and next moment it doesn't move. Now what shall I say? What do you think, I'm a fool or what? How can I say it moves and it doesn't move? Usually these philosophers are grasped. You know this in German, one German philosopher writes, because he doesn't understand this type of apparent contradictions. What he says? Upanishads are the blubberings of the mankind in his early childhood. He just doesn't grasp it. It is like, you don't understand what it is. Please see, now think of it and you'll know. He says that moves and it never moves. How can something move and doesn't move? Now look, this is one of those scientists, I forget his name, Buckminster Fuller. Yes, Buckminster Fuller. He is one of those scientists. He is a man who had some 300 patents in his name. One day he was asked by his friend, "Sir, what are you doing?" Then he says, "Oh, I am moving 60,000 miles per hour. Now you ask me a question, suppose I say, I am moving 60,000 miles per hour. What will you think? It's gone wrong. Something somewhere has gone wrong. Sir, what does it mean? What it means is, you are sitting down on a spaceship, in the spaceship called Earth, this planet, which moves 60,000 miles per hour. From your standpoint, you are not moving. From the standpoint of the earth, you are moving 60,000 miles per hour. When you came to this place, you are a bit delayed in the class. Then I asked you, "Sir, why you are in such a big hurry?" "Oh, Swamiji, I was a bit delayed. I want to right time. I came 60 miles per hour. Looking at you now, I know 60 feet you can't move." So when you say 60 miles per hour you came, what does it mean? You are seated on a car, you never moved, but the car moved 60 miles per hour. So when you say, I move, yet it never moves. Moves from the standpoint of the body, standpoint of the sense organs, standpoint of the thoughts. Never moves from its own standpoint. Is that point? No movement. Tadejati, tannejati. Then how it's there? Taddure. Hey, how to know that? It's very, very fantastic, wonderful. How do I get it? Taddure. If you look for it, it's far, far away. If you do not look for it, tadavantike, the nearer than the nearest. It's far away because you are looking for it. It's nearest. Even nearest is not the word. Nearest also involves a distance, isn't it? To my body, this cloth is the nearest. But to my body, what is the distance of the body? Near or far? The very concept of distance is dissolved. Between you and yourself, what is the distance? Can you say far? Can you say near? But the moment you look for it, it can be just anywhere, not here. Are you getting that point? The moment you look for it, it is just not here anymore. Where it can be? Anywhere. Therefore, farther than the farthest. Whom should you dismiss? Dismiss that onlooker, the seeker who is looking for it. So therefore don't sit down and say, so now I am busy dissolving the seeker. The moment you say that, I am busy dissolving the seeker. Now you are another role now. Dissolver of the seeker. This is where people get into stupidity in meditations. I am perceiving. See, Swamiji, I have paid $100 to learn a meditation to perceive. And look at my eyes and see and meditate. Tragedy. What shall you see in my eyes? Some dumbness. Nothing else. Anyway, the fellow says, you look at this, you look at that. Please see that, sir. Where should you look? The moment you see that? The moment you take that role, please. Oh. The moment you open your mouth, you announce yourself. The moment you think, you announce yourself. Therefore not that you should not think, go beyond thinking. No, say therefore should not think. Go beyond the thinking. In your presence the thoughts are taking place. Tat ture tadavanti. Tad antarasya sarvasya. Indeed, you want to know the address? That is within everybody. Oh, it is within everybody. Therefore, sarvasyasya bhahyata. It is also without. It puts you into such trips. What does it mean, sir? You cannot conclude. The moment you conclude, you have missed the boat. If you say, this is how it is, it defies the law. How is the truth? One. What is that one? Sir, must be somebody other than it to say one. You can't even say. It's like space. It is within everything, within the pot, yet it is outside the pot. Indeed, everything existing in space itself doesn't gain an existence because of something. Consciousness within, without. Within, without, from which standpoint? From the standpoint of the pot, the space is within and the space is without. From its own standpoint, is there a within and without? Sir, you have no sides. This morning I was telling somebody. A huge ocean liner, huge ship, that it floats in the ocean, floats in the sea. Because if floating on one side, it can sink a 1,000,000 tonner. But the coconut, on which side it sinks, on which side it floats? All sides, never sinks. The mightiest in the ocean cannot drown it. If you are a person with a side, you are already sunken. When you have no sides, because the individuality is not there. You roll on every directions, everywhere, nothing affects. Within, without. Again, within, without means nothing to you. That is yourself. Please close your eyes, please. Just think of that word. Tadejati tannejati. That moves, it never moves. The movement is from the standpoint of the body. It changes. The sense organs, there are changes. The thought, there are changes. But all the changes are taking place in the changeless substratum, consciousness. That consciousness here, there, everywhere, on which the thoughts move. And wherever the thought moves, there you are. If you consider your dimension to the dimension of the head, it seems as though thoughts are bursting your head. When you know yourself, a stillness, silence, in which the body is existing, whole hall is existing. Expand yourself. The Sagvanas, the whole island, you are conscious of it. The continent, all the 7 continents, the earth, the moon, the star, the stars. It takes no time to reach. Everything falls within the consciousness. However, speed with which the cyclone can move, the space never gets blown out. The thoughts never overtake the consciousness, the stillness. The sense organs cannot perceive it. They are meant for perception without. The thoughts cannot reach it. They have already reached it. You may say that the thoughts can never reach the consciousness. What it means is it has already reached it. Like somebody can challenge you. You can never reach the space because you are already in space. There is no distance to be measured, to be covered. Thus being the stillness, different thoughts may come. When these thoughts are there, if you are not very alert, suddenly somewhere this I thought comes and says, oh, so many thoughts are there, I am restless. And you succumb to that one instead of classifying it as another thought. Just deciding that is another type of thought. It's just another thought takes place in your mind. It has nothing very special about it. We identify with that and create the distance from all other thoughts. And now this I starts struggling to dismiss a thought which the thought doesn't want, neither the consciousness wants. A thought is an innocent one, playing about. Like in the formless space, different forms are playing about. In the formless consciousness, the thoughts are playing about. This I comes and says it doesn't want a thought, or it wants a particular thought, creates a division where there is no division, creates a side where there is no side. Resolve that I, the word, the thought into yourself. And that consciousness, as Bhagavan says in Gita, Aham Atma, Sarvabhutasaya, here Arjuna, I am the self in all the beings. You come in direct communion with God Himself as consciousness. And when you abide there, your mind forms the part of total mind. Your body is already taken care of by the totality. Certain things has to be done to take care of this body and the mind. You do it. And that caring itself becomes the worship of the God. That does not mean a selfish interest in your own body or the mind, for whose sake the whole world must be sacrificed. No. You find fulfillment in yourself. You make use of this creation for your living as well as for others. But you never lose sight of yourself. No more the thoughts are a burden or a perception, a bondage. Function from that depth, the stillness. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So friends, we shall see next time. Next class will be on Monday. That's on 17th and 16th, 19th.